Hello, and welcome back again to Four Four Brew, your favourite football podcast, I'm sure. It's certainly ours. I'm joined with Ivor, and how are you doing,
Hello.
Ivor?
I'm doing very good, thank you. I'm doing very well, especially with Arsenal season being over. That's been a very nice relief. Although it was also great relief watching the Champions League final in a pub full of Arsenal fans. Actually, although it wasn't even really because I watched the first half and they're all going absolutely ballistic, and me and one of my friends who's a Norwich fan felt like imposters, imposters at best, and like traitors at
Hmm.
worst. We left for this after the second half because it was so hot we felt like
Oh,
fainting, and I think that's probably the best decision given uh, how dull the rest of the game sounded.
yeah, I mean, I was obviously watching it through the Arsenal fan lens and on the edge of my seat the whole time,
Uh,
but looking back, I
mm,
can appreciate it probably wasn't one for the neutrals, really.
no, no, maybe not. It was one for the city of Paris.
Yeah.
Some of the videos I saw coming out after that were
I
absolutely
don't
mental.
understand the obsession with just setting things on fire when you win
I
something.
know, like do something different. Do something different. Do better.
um,
Like there was a distinct lack of fire. Do you go to the trophy parade on Sunday? Did
of
you go
course,
to
I
that?
did with friend of the podcast,
Was it good?
Rory. It was very good. I mean, we stood around for 4 hours because, well, I think this would have been what you had to do to get a decent view. But
mm,
yeah, we went somewhere quite far towards the end of the route, and in so
mm.
doing, waited that bit longer. And I think also maybe the players were a bit
Made it
sick of
all
it
the more.
by then. Um, because yeah, there was no one on the mic as they went past us. Obviously, they looked like they were having a good time, but yeah, it was good vibes to be honest. I
Yeah.
mean, there were some suspected by me crackheads vaguely opposite us who looked like they were threatening to cause some mischief at points, but actually it was pretty well mannered, good fun. Um, yeah, the sort
Mm.
of interactions
Oh,
between
excellent.
crowds that you expect in these sort of instances.
Yeah, totally. Oh, it sounds like a lovely little day out. Were you perchance drinking any beers whilst you were
Do you
watching the
know, I
parade go by?
wasn't during the parade because I was just too much in need of recovery from the night before getting through the Champions League final
Mm.
and the immediate aftermath of that. But I do now have one.
Which I'd imagine sounded like a quarter bottle of whiskey.
Not quite, not quite. Um, I managed to level my head and get through it
Well done.
purely on beer, like a real man. Which is what. Oh, it's actually not what I'm on today. I've got myself a
Oh,
Kronenberg. However, I have
okay.
mixed it in my Arsenal pint glass with some lemonade, which, you know, I
Mm.
know will upset some people, but what can I say? It's my use
Those
of
people
free
clearly just
will
haven't
at
matured.
5:30 on a weeknight.
Those people just haven't discovered, how to enjoy all elements of life. I've recently become very partial to a
Yeah,
shandy
exactly.
or a lager
Yeah,
top. Like it's like on a summer's day, so
yeah.
refreshing, so refreshing. If myself from 5 years ago caught me saying that, I'd probably laugh me out of town. But that's by the by,
Yeah.
really, isn't it? Oh, that's a lovely drink. I've also gone for something with a bit of a lemony twist, actually. I went down to the Mad Squirrel brewery today and got a citrus pale for there we are for your now viewing pleasure. It's suitable for vegans, so you can have this. It apparently doesn't have any one bold particular flavour. It's a bit of a fruity smorgasbord of mango, pineapple, apricot, and lime, with a hint of
That
earthy
does sound
pine.
lovely and a
So
lot better effort than what
it
I've gone
does
for.
well. It's a first it's our first episode, so I thought what better way to bring it in, and what better way to bring it in than the World Cup, right? What a great way for us to get
Perfect
started off.
opportunity.
I mean, how are you? 100%. I mean, this is why we're back as well. But how are you feeling? Are you excited for the World Cup? Because I've got my copyright pending FIFA 26 sticker book, which has got a limited
Yeah, I was
collection
going to
in it.
say, how
I've got the
many are you
Scotland
up
flag,
to?
which is all I'm. Not many. It's an extortion
Yeah,
to
I
fill it
bet.
out. It's like I remember I saw someone worked out it was around about a grand
Jesus.
because just due to the amount of duplicates you're going to get, and you only get 7 stickers in a pack for
Flipping
125.
heck.
So I impulse bought it on a lunch break at work, and then realised how expensive it would be to fill it out, and ramped it down a little bit. But yeah, how are you feeling? In the spirits and
Do you know
festive
what? I'm
mood?
getting there. I potentially during work hours, but potentially not, have been watching and listening to various previews of this World Cup and things throwing back to the last
Allegedly.
one. I binged Dear England on BBC iPlayer over the last week just to sort of fill time, get over the Arsenal disappointment, and also, yeah, get into the spirits for the
Mm.
World Cup. And I am really getting there, even though I'm not massively optimistic for England's hopes, or at least I've not allowed myself to get drawn into its coming home yet, certainly. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I am excited for some World Cup. I'm just disappointed that it's going to be another one of those with the awkward kickoff times for us over here in the UK. Um,
That doesn't matter at all, Matt. Like, I don't care if I'm up at 3 a.m. watching like Curacao versus Ivory Coast. I'm going to be there for it.
and how about yourself? Obviously, Scotland are
Yeah.
involved this time. What a luxury.
Well, I was going to say this is the most excited for a World Cup I think I've ever been. For those who don't know, obviously this is Scotland's first World Cup since 1998, first of the millennium, and I'm very excited. We've got a good group. I am waiting to get my Scott McTominay £20 note. Uh, Again, if he can have a revival, absolutely any of us can. What a legend! I'm very very excited, and I'm very excited to get stuck into these World Cup predictions as well. Uh, I guess starting this off, then, do we go straight into who you think is going to be the
I
winner,
think
Matt?
so. And
Because you've alluded to England not being involved.
yeah, like I suggested, I mean, I don't think England are going to really let us down, but I can't see them winning. I think there are a few big favourites, but I've lumped for Spain, even though I heard earlier today that they've not won a knockout game in the last couple of tournaments, if they've even got to the knockouts at all.
Because they went out to because they got knocked out of the quarterfinals by
Mm-hmm.
Morocco last time, didn't they? On pens, so they've not made it very far in the previous. But then I guess I think this, the way this Spain side shaped up wasn't necessarily. It was maybe at the beginning phases. At that point, I remember Morata still making quite a heavy feature, whereas now they've decided to go pretty
Yeah.
much strikerless, which obviously to their benefit. But yeah, a lot of changes happened since then, so they are a very understandable
Yeah, and
favourite.
I've heard apparently Oyarzabal is going to be their starting striker, and he's been in some pretty good form this season, uh, with double figures goals and
Mm.
assists. So, yeah, he's my man. Lamine Yamal probably going to return to fitness
He's
sort of towards the middle of the tournament, but they should get through the groups without
mm.
much bother for
and
me.
and I think they've probably got the easiest group out of everyone. I think because Cape Verde aren't, or Cape Verde aren't exactly. It's great to have them at the World Cup, obviously, but I don't think they're going. They might make a bit of headway. Who knows? But Saudi Arabia and Uruguay feel very middle of the pack. Uruguay's front line, is now missing. The greats have carried them through World Cups. No Luis Suarez, no Edson Cavani. I think they're going up top with Darwin Núñez, who has had a honking time with
Yeah.
Al Hilal. And really, I mean, Fede Valverde, I guess, but even then, he's probably recovering from his severe brain injury he accrued
Yeah.
earlier in the season. Uh, Saudi Arabia, I feel there's not really too much going on there. So they've got an easy group out, and then as you said, with Lamine Yamal coming back to fitness, so it won't really impact them early on. They're not on a group of death. And yeah, they've got some really great big game. Like Mikael Yassabal, I think, has made a goal contribution in every final he has been in. I think he might have won every final
Yeah,
he's been
scored the
in as
winner in
well.
the Euros.
He's,
I know that for sure.
I think he also, he, I think he also scored or assisted in the Copa del Rey final this year, which was Sociedad's first trophy in quite a long time. So very good for him. I seriously think Spain are a serious contender. However, I've gone against my national allegiance. I'm going for England. I just I see it. I really see it being England's year. Like I was going through this earlier, making my predictions for again. I think things such as Golden Boot and whatnot. And I was thinking about the players available to, I guess, the other big nations. And I mean, obviously, Kylian Mbappe is
Yeah,
definitely a threat, but there's a real dearth of great strikers at this
that
World
is
Cup. I
fair.
feel like. I mean, obviously, Ronaldo's been phased out. I think Group I have probably got the best selection of strikers with Mbappe, Haaland, and Nicholas Jackson in there. But it's again, Brazil have brought Igor Thiago. They might be. Will they start Rafinha up front? Will be starting Endrick up front even. I mean, he's had a
Yeah,
great season at Lyon, but nothing too promising. Netherlands have got a very weak strike force. I had to bring back Memphis Depay. Sweden, I think will have Isak and Gyökeres obviously, but Isak's coming back from that very debilitating
yeah,
knee injury. From the pictures I saw, that he's not going to be running at full speed. And I think this England squad has been really well balanced. It's got a lot of flack online, which I honestly really strongly
yeah.
disagree with for the most part. I mean, save for bringing Lewis Hall, um, and maybe one of Gibbs White or Wharton, but that's what happens when you've got such talented players, and it's a squad that really fits. Jordan Henderson, especially, had a great season. Played 32 games for Brentford this year. He's not been a slouch, and they've come in the top half when many picked them for relegation. I seriously think this could be England's year. Again, they've got a group that is extremely winnable. Croatia are the big end of their golden era, I guess. And then Ghana obviously have Antoine Semenyo going,
Yeah.
who's a huge threat. But again, the defence and the lack of Mo Kudus as well does alarm me. And then last time Kane played against Panama, he obviously got pretty maybe one of the worst hat tricks I've ever seen, but he still got a hat trick. It was a 6-0 win.
It
Was that
was.
2018?
Shout out Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
It was 2018. Yeah, what a legend. Gone but not forgotten. But I seriously see England doing it. I really see England doing it. I think it's the best assembled squad. There's going to be no Gareth Southgate hiccups. They've probably got the best manager in the tournament as well, save for Carlo at
Yeah, I
Brazil.
mean,
Graham
on the
Potter of
face of
Sweden
it,
maybe thrown in
obviously
there.
Spain and Argentina have got that sort of international experience that's giving their relatively inexperienced managers a bit of cachet. But yeah, I suppose looking at full CVs, the names you mentioned there are sort of head and shoulders above some of the others.
Mm. And again, I don't think the Argentina squad really. I mean, obviously, Leo Messi's final World Cup, but it doesn't excite me too much.
No,
Like
me neither.
there's not like a lot of their midfielders have had pretty underwhelming seasons. I'm looking at McAllister and Enzo Fernandez for that. Rodrigo De Paul has been playing playing / being Messi's bodyguard in Miami. And then otherwise, like Nico Gonzalez from like Fiorentina, is he really going to? Actually, no. I think he's left Fiorentina. Actually, I take that back. But Julian obviously great, had a great season linked with the move to Barcelona. But yeah. Nico Gonzalez, sorry, plays for Atletico Madrid. Take it
Yeah, I
back.
was
He's
going
not
to
really
say
made much
could
of an
have
impact this
fooled
year.
me.
But well, I guess that goes to show, doesn't it? But I seriously think England are going to do it, and I guess moving on to Golden Boot, you've got an England player
Yeah, I
nestled in.
mean, I got into the document early and probably stole your favourite shout, but I can't really see past Harry Kane. Mbappe got it last time, didn't he? And he's obviously still quality, but he's not had the best of seasons with Real Madrid on the whole. Like,
Mm,
Individually, he's done well, but I don't know if he'll be coming into this in the right headspace. I think
mm.
I didn't want to. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think France are necessarily going to have the best of tournaments.
Well, we're going to get
And
onto this one in a second.
yeah, our biggest underachievers are coming up, but I just think it could be a bit of a repeat of the first couple of games of 2018, which obviously they ultimately won with Olivier
Mm.
Giroud up front. Um,
Well, they've
but I
got
think,
Mateta. The attack at France is like they're going to have to bench one of Doué or Cherki. It's
well, this is the thing. I think they might try and crowbar in Mbappe, Dembele, Doué,
mm,
and or Cherki, and that was what did for them really in that opening game. Was it against Australia or Denmark in 2018 where they just looked really dour?
mm.
And I can see the same happening again
Australia. Yeah,
basically, and I think that'll leave it open for Kane to run up a nice head start in the Golden Boot run. And yeah, other than Mbappe, I don't see anyone really competing, but I know you do.
I've gone for a big blonde Norwegian man named Alexander Sorloth. No, Erling Haaland is I'd say a pretty good candidate. I mean, they do obviously have a very difficult group. The so-called group of death of this tournament of France, Senegal, Iraq, and Norway. But with Martin Odegaard feeding in behind, they've got Antonio Nusa, Oscar Bob. There's lots of talent across that Norwegian front line and in the midfield as well. They've got a very solid squad, and I feel they could make a decent run. As I've also got them as my Norway as my biggest overachievers. Um, but I can seriously see Haaland like doing serious damage to everyone in that group. To be honest, like the French defence again, as you alluded to, if they do decide to crowbar, Elise, Dembele, Mbappe, Doué, Cherky, getting four of those into a starting 11 is going to be difficult, especially with Mbappe. I saw his stat today. He has made the least defensive contributions out of any player in
Yes, I
European
saw
top
this.
leagues. So in Spain, he'd obviously made the least goal contributions out of anyone who played. So that included goalkeepers. However, it's extended to the entirety of Europe, and he was dead last. Like 6,045th or something like that. It was.
Yes,
So
and
I
you
think that go for it, Matt.
well, they had to include the same. Assuming you've got this from some random person on Twitter, um, they had to go down to like the Scottish League and the Mexican League to find another outfield player with as few defensive contributions per 90 minutes.
Exactly. It's so I feel again, and the defense. Oh, obviously, Saliba in there is excellent, but I feel like the rest of it doesn't excite me as much as it may have done in previous years. I mean, Koundé, there's a plethora of talent there in France, but whether or not it gels is a different topic. But I can seriously see Norway making a very very long run and Haaland getting this is his first World Cup as well. He's going to be very keen to impress. I think he could break the 6 goal mark pretty comfortably in not that many games.
Yeah, and we know, like, if you look back to his start in the Champions League, he didn't have to be at a great team, but he still racked up a shed load of goals for RB Salzburg and
Uh,
Borussia Dortmund.
100%. And yeah, when he plays someone a bit underwhelming, say if they go through in the group of 32 and play someone on the weaker side, or even Iraq, who I mean are a really solid team from like their own region. I think they've won the Asian Cup relatively recently, but it's not elite defense necessarily, is it? It's not truly elite. So I can really see Haaland making an impact and Norway going a very decent way. I feel you can't really call them dark horses, I guess, because I feel so many people, again, like how Turkey are always labelled as dark horse. I feel like when everyone labels them as dark horse, you can't really call them a dark horse. It's just a regular horse at that point. But I can really
Yeah.
see, I can see Norway at the very least get into the quarters. and Haaland getting a lot of goals in the process, especially with the extra game. You've gone for a more interesting overachiever, and one which I don't necessarily want to see overachieve.
No, I mean, it pains me to say, but I actually think the US could have a decent tournament. I know even since Pochettino's been in for a decent amount of time, he's barely had them win a game. But I just think that home advantage could do something. We see it so often. I remember Russia in 2018 massively punching above their weight.
Yeah,
Qatar
true.
last time maybe didn't, but it
South
does
Korea
seem
getting to
to be
semis.
yeah, exactly. And I think obviously going in as like a top seed has given them a relatively favourable group. I mean, on the face of it, to me, it looks like the weakest group,
Uh,
with
yeah,
Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey.
certainly up there.
I think they've got to fancy themselves getting out of there. And I don't know how, just because of the complexity of the tournament and the quantity of teams that are going to be in there and the added
Hmm.
round of 32, like, I don't know how accurate these predictors can be, but I've
Hmm.
got them in the round of 32 to face Iran, which would obviously be interesting. But
That I feel Iran would throw absolutely everything in that game. It'd be
I think there
what
would
a
probably
sight.
be, and I factored this into my predictions, some sort of FIFA Infantino sponsored intervention to ensure that the US win that match.
No,
And then
I can believe that. I can believe that.
in this one, I've got them going out at the round of 16 against
Mm.
Argentina. Um, but I think there's a bit of wiggle room, which could even see them get as far as the quarters. You know, they've got decent players in that team. If one of them hits some hot form, I can see them getting to the quarters, which I think would be a massive overachievement for the US.
Mm.
And to be honest, like any other World Cup, if they don't get groups, like that's a decent effort.
100%. I mean, I think the other home nations as well do stand a really good chance of going far. Again, Mexico's group outside of well, I mean, not even the Korea Republic now. I guess now Son's going winding down his career. They're probably the strongest team in their group, and Canada right up there with Switzerland as the strongest team in theirs as well. So again, Canada probably have a bit more, top line talent with Alfonso Davies and Jonathan David. I'd
Yeah.
imagine both those playing in the front line as well could be very, very exciting to watch. I guess we've done overachievers, Matt. Who do you think is going to have their collapse?
Yeah, I've obviously already poured a bit of cold water on France, but my massive underachiever prediction is the Netherlands. I think their squad looks really bottom heavy. Like they've got a lot
Mm,
of good defenders, but ultimately you can only play four or five of them at a time.
yeah,
Um,
totally.
and the forward line just looks really uninspiring. And in
It,
a group
yeah,
with Japan and Sweden, I think they could be there to get exploited. You know,
definitely.
just the odd goal in it in these tournaments. Tunisia are in there as well, who I assume will be a bit of the whipping boys of that group. But ultimately, if the Netherlands can't score goals, which is sort of the assumption in my answer to this, they might not even get enough points to be a best third place team to get through
It
to
is.
the round of 32. So that's why I've got
Mm,
them in as biggest underachievers. Pretty straightforward
it's
argument.
it's a really tricky group, and again, the front line is very very limited. Again, especially considering how many great forwards have come out of the Netherlands in the past. I mean, yeah, Brian Brobby obviously had a good season with Sunderland, but still, Memphis Depay has been let go by Corinthians in this year. Cody Gakpo, who I feel like if you asked any Liverpool fan for an opinion on him, wouldn't be too positive. Justin Cliver has obviously spent the entire season out injured, pretty much, with Bournemouth.
Yep.
Has hardly made an appearance. Noah Lang, who's been playing in Galatasaray to a decent level, but even still. I mean, the only real excitement in there is Donyell Marlon, who's gone to Roma after leaving Villa this year, and I think got 14 goals in 18 games. He's been absolutely electric.
Okay.
So maybe so, but even then, the rest of it is, Somerville, who again had a good second half of the season, but did get relegated with West Ham,
Yeah,
and
Wout Weghorst is still in
yeah,
there, which is a
you
real
know,
indictment for me.
yeah, never fall in love with a lone player, but yeah, he's a very damning indictment. You're completely right. Uh, I've gone for France for very different logic. I feel like it's been. I remember the first World Cup I remember was 2010, and I do remember the World Cup squad meltdown in France. Half the squad like basically deciding to leave. Uh,
Yeah.
it's been a very long time since that, and I think we're 100% overdue it. You know, Kylian Mbappe's at the height of his dictatorial powers. Uh, Chouamé's just come back from scrap. I believe Rabiot is almost definitely going to be going. Let
Oh,
me
I
double
mean,
check that.
he is going, and he is just a loose cannon, isn't he? The other thing that
He
I
is
didn't
going.
mention earlier is that Deschamps is this is his last tournament, isn't it? He's announced he's
Mm,
leaving afterwards. Firstly, I just still don't rate him after all of the success they've had. Um, but
no,
secondly, I
I
think
can
that just could add to that like highly emotional environment that has paid for France in previous tournaments.
definitely. And again, just checking out the midfield, it's really, really like Warren Zaire-Emery, of course, is PSG's top appearance maker in League On, but that doesn't really count for anything for
Yeah,
me.
what about the
Tchouaméni's played.
Champions League?
Exactly, mate. Tchouaméni's played a lot of the year at centre back and also been in the scrap. Adrien Rabiot, less said the better. N'Golo Kante's on his last legs. And Manu Kone again had a good season at Roma, but they brought five proper midfielders, and then everyone else is just like attack. They've brought nine forwards, which is a bit excessive, I would say. And again, you could just see an Mbappe Dembele beef or some emotional collapse coming. I feel like France are really due it, and I feel like it could come to them. And again, they're in a really difficult group as well to get things started. It's not like Spain or England who'll be able to rest a lot of their players at the beginning of the tournament. They've got to play Senegal, Iraq, and Norway in that group, and they really need to. Again, a drop point in that could be really lead to a more difficult route through the rest of the tournament. Or again, an embarrassing loss to Senegal, Iraq. I mean, any of them would be an embarrassing loss already, I guess, to France anyway, given their uh, you know uh, record in the World Cup over the last decade or so. But even still, I can see serious French disappointment, which would make me a very happy boy. It would make me a very happy boy. Matt, should we break now and go for just 59 seconds?
Yeah, I was going to say, and speaking of what could make you a very happy boy, our traditional
Oh,
segment.
so for those of you who don't know, just 59 seconds is a lovely little game we like to play at the midpoint of our episodes. Either myself or Matt will pick a few topics from the football news cycle over the last week. I've brought it back a little bit further. Uh, not too much further, mind, but just a
Thanks.
little bit, as it's our first episode, and the news has been relatively quiet in the interim between seasons ending and World Cup starting. But there'll be five topics on the wheel this week. Um, Matt, one of these was randomly picked, and Matt has 59 seconds to talk about that topic without hesitation, repetition, or deviation from the truth. If he's able to complete this without any of those boxes being ticked, he gets a point, and that point will be those points will be tallied up across this season of Four Four Brew, and we'll calculate a winner at the end. So I'm going to spin an artificial wheel, which will appear on screen for with a bit of editing magic, hopefully. Probably not. And I'm going to spin that now. So we have
I've really
Erling
not done my
Haaland.
homework for this. Oh, okay.
We have Erling Haaland as a topic for this week, Matt. So you have just 59 seconds without hesitation, repetition, or deviation from the truth to talk about the big blonde Norwegian. You ready?
Yeah, I am.
Let me just start a stopwatch now because that would be quite useful. And on your marks, get set, go.
Erling Haaland is a Norwegian striker who wears number 9 for Manchester City. As Ivor mentioned, he is tall and blonde and is, funnily enough, playing for a club which his father, Alf Inge Haaland, also played for. His dad saw his career ended by a horrific challenge by Roy Keane, which has probably only further endeared Man City in that sort of trauma bonding way to Erling. And it shows because he's gone on to win multiple golden boots for the Blues and in multiple competitions for Man City in the Premier League, but also in the Champions League. He bagged goals for Borussia Dortmund beforehand, and also even for RB Salzburg, which we mentioned earlier in the episode. He has fired Norway to the first World Cup in I don't even know how long, with the assistance of some names mentioned earlier. That's Martin Odegaard, Oscar Bob, probably Josh King at some point, and other fellow Norwegians. Including Christoph Ayer from Brentford, who I think might be Norwegian.
You hit 59 seconds ages ago. I still want to interrupt you in flow, but that was a beautiful performance.
No,
I actually really want to know now if
don't know
if Josh King
properly
and Haaland played together.
That. Surely Josh King
no, you definitely
popped up at some point.
That was well past the moment. That was well past the 59 seconds.
When you said topic,
Norway
thought,
teammate Josh King.
Oh, get in there. Yeah, I
So
thought, there's loads of stuff to talk about Haaland for. But it just... My mind's a blank. I've not done one of these in yonks. I forgot how the heat gets to you. And the pressure.
Honestly, when you're in the hot seat, it is difficult. The reason Erling Haaland is in the news this week is because Manchester City have sued, or at least started the legal proceedings to sue Real Madrid for, as one of their presidential candidates has promised that if he is elected, he will sign Erling Haaland. And if he isn't, he'll refund every single club membership for that season. Wow. Which is a very big ask, obviously. Especially given Haaland is contracted until 2034.
Yeah,
and
famously.
Has shown no signs of ever wanting to leave Man City. So this has obviously caused a bit of a stir in the news. And Man City going with legal proceedings probably makes sense. Other topics...
Yeah, because their legal team are quite free at the moment, actually.
Yeah, no, famously, loosened up quite a lot recently. Yeah, no issues to be... preoccupying the mind with whatsoever. Although I guess it's like when a murderer, murderers always show up, afterwards, right? Like it's just make them seem innocent. getting involved in standard play. You're not shelving away. Just make business as usual, guys. Don't you worry. I guess that's probably why they're doing it, and then just hoping and praying the rest gets forgotten about. Other topics in the wheel for this week, we had New Zealand. Do you know why New Zealand might be the topic for this week, Matt?
No.
Well, New Zealand is in the news because a New Zealand footballer, Tim Payne, has shot to virality over the last couple of weeks as an Argentine influencer went out of the way to find the least known player playing at this year's World Cup. So they concluded to be players playing for New Zealand, Tim Payne, who I believe plays across in Australasia. I don't know the club because I've not done the research properly. And I think he had the least number of followers in the New Zealand team. So He shot up to about 1 million plus Instagram followers over the last week or two. Absolutely crazy. We also have Algeria in here, Matt. Do you know why Algeria might be in?
No.
Because when revealing their World Cup squad, they decided to do it not in the traditional sense where the manager might call up the players, let them know you're in. No one actually knew at all, apart from the manager, who was in the squad until players were landing. So Algerian journalists were mobbing their camp
Nice.
as players were arriving, including Said Benrahma, for one,
Of course.
uh, who were arriving to the camp because that is the only way people found out. The squad wasn't published until after the fact, so yeah, it was found out by who arrived at the airport, which I quite like that.
I
I
like
quite
that. That's
like it being
great.
in that way. I know, very fun. We've also gone for Barcelona. This is due to their, I'd say, surprise signing of Anthony Gordon over the
Yeah.
last week or two. I guess we'll get on to his and Marcus Rashford's futures later on, maybe once the World Cup's passed, once we're talking a bit more transfer news.
Yeah.
And we also have, last but not least, Denzel Dumfries. I thought I was going to put Jose Mourinho in here, but I thought his move to Real Madrid was a little bit old news per se. I feel
Sure.
like it was announced whilst the Premier League season was still on, which
Yeah.
felt a bit long ago. So he's the first player who Real Madrid are linked to sign. Again, Inter Milan fullback, absolute, Dutch international tournament
Machine,
legend.
isn't he? Yeah.
He's going to be in my fantasy. I mean,
Well, I always
my
think
fantasy World Cup team.
I don't think I'm going to bother. There are too many players, even whatever his name, who's got 1 million followers now. If he makes it, there's just too many players for me to do a fantasy team.
Yeah, you get very valid point because you would also lose to me anyway. And those are our 5 topics for just 59 seconds this week.
Thank you very
Hope
much.
you enjoyed that, and we're going straight back into the regular episode. I'm going to put a segue in here, by the way. I feel
Okay.
like that. So, do you want to announce it, Matt?
Yeah, sure. So next up on our running order, we've got the most exciting group, and I had earmarked Group F to discuss, which is the Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, Tunisia group. But I feel like we've spoken about that a little bit already, so I'm just going to give Group. I'm going to say a shout out. There's not an obvious last place. It's between Mexico, South Korea, South Africa, and the Czech Republic. I think in this instance, in a rare instance, I'd probably have the European team down as the least likely to progress. South Africa, I would believe a lot more in, but they were quite hotly tipped at the last AFCON, weren't they? And really underperformed compared to those expectations. So I don't really know what to expect from them at a World Cup. South Korea always seemed to do all right, but like we've said, Son is more or less out of the picture now. And Mexico as hosts, you'd probably expect to top the group because of that, but you never know. At the last World Cup, it was a real slog for them. They could barely score a goal. And if it's the same this time, then yeah, I'd say it's an open race between all 4 of them to get through. You could see, because of that, 3 of the 4 going through. If you get a few that are on sort of 4 or 5 points, then any of them could get through, and whoever misses out will probably be quite unlucky to on, say, 4 points, 3 points. So yeah, I'll go for that as my most exciting group. And also, obviously, the first game on June the 11th is from that group, and that always adds a bit of spice, doesn't it?
Totally, yeah. Mexico, South Africa is going to be that's a fun opening.
Yeah.
That's a very fun World Cup opening. I like the sound of that.
Who have you gone for?
I think that's a really exciting group. I'm going to briefly touch upon the Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, Tunisia. That is very exciting. I don't see Tunisia doing too much this tournament, sadly. And again, it's just whether or not Netherlands, really, hold their bottle and actually get through and put in a good, attacking performance. Because Japan look really, really promising. They're of course missing Karo Mitoma, which is pretty devastating for them. He's probably their best attacker, but they've got lots of great talent spread all across that squad, and a good, tall goalkeeper who's playing in the European leagues as well, which they've struggled with for a long time. Because they've got Zion Suzuki, who's playing in Serie A, I believe, for Parma. Is a young 23-year-old keeper. Should be pretty promising there. I actually wanted to touch upon I'm putting Group C into our crib notes, but that's mainly because Scotland are there. And of course, they've got AFCON winners Morocco, as well as AFCON winners Senegal in Group I. But I think Scotland do genuinely stand a chance. I don't think this is a vintage Brazil team. They do have Don Carlo in, but again, we'll be waiting and seeing. And then Morocco again, although they had an excellent run at the last World Cup. Maybe some of the more senior players there maybe had a bit of a drop off, such as Bono and Nesri, who are both now playing in Saudi and Turkey, respectively.
Yeah.
Again, no Sofian Amrabat to rely on anymore. So again, still a really solid squad, but again, might struggle a little bit against the mighty Scots who just beat Curacao 4-0. We're so back. But I think, honestly, Group D with the USA, we highlighted that as a group they really have to be getting through. But I think it's a really exciting one, to be honest. I think Turkey being in there, I do like as well. I feel like they could either turn up with they've got lots and lots of exciting talent right now. Yildiz and Arda Güler,
True.
notwithstanding. But they've got Chen Uzun, who's a young Frankfurt player playing in their front line as well. He should be very exciting. Definitely one of the players to watch in this World Cup. But also Australia as well. I think they've got a good chance of doing some damage. They've got Nestor Irakunda, who is a player playing for Watford on loan from Bayern Munich. Not necessarily a common career path there, but still. And he has been pretty electric for a teenager in the Championship. So they're definitely ones to watch there as well. I have highlighted a few of the breakout stars from this World Cup there briefly with Big Nestor getting his flowers there. But who do you have lined up as your breakthrough star the World Cup, Matt?
Yeah, it was a toss-up for me between a couple of names. I'll start with the one who I'm not going to put front and centre, which is Nathaniel Brown, just because he's been in the news the last week. Maybe not even as long as that. He's Frankfurt fullback, plays left back for Germany, I think, and is expected to be a starter for them this tournament. And he's been linked with Arsenal and some other big clubs across the continent, and I'm really excited to see how he does because I'd never heard of him until the transfer window opened. And Germany for years have been without a sort of reliable set of fullbacks, and if he can be one for them, that could really mark him out, especially as Germany potentially can break their sort of recent tournament hoodoo and get a decent way into this tournament. But the person that I
100%.
have gone for above him is Nico Paz, who's just had a really exciting season with Como on loan from Real Madrid.
I'm looking forward to watching
Selected in the Argentina squad, and that's a competitive field. We see particularly, I think, Mastantuono, who's not had a bad season for Real, Paz's parent club.
It's not been played by Arbeloa.
But he's not got in, even though he was highly rated in the national team, I think, and obviously broke through only 12 months ago in the Argentinian domestic league. But that stock's fallen off and Paz has come through. I think looking at the rest of the Argentina squad, like the names we were saying earlier, there's not that much creativity in there. You've got some wingers, some strikers, but in terms of midfield, you've got quite a sort of industrial-looking set of players, and if they get a couple of games in and are struggling to get some goals, if they can find a way to put him in the same team as Messi, who is his primary blocker in that area, I think he could be given the keys to this Argentina side, and that would be a massive credit to him. And from what I hear about his time in Italy this season, something that he can step up to the plate for.
Totally. Again, he's absolutely torn it up in Italy, and again looks pretty set for a move to Real Madrid this summer, or to continue his development with Como. But really, really exciting player. Really exciting. It's a shame no other clubs could get him, to be honest. my two highlights are going to be I think one, I'm just going to want to highlight the entire Turkish youth attacking prospects. Cenoz'un, highlighted earlier, could be really, really exciting. Kenan Yildiz is probably the one that springs to mind the most. I think his ability to, again, just whip an absolute belter in from the edge of the box, Morgan Rogers-esque, really could excite a lot of teams. I think especially excite Arsenal and potentially PSG, who are, the two teams have been most prominently linked with Rogers. Again, Arda Güler as well, obviously, should have a pretty great tournament as well. But I don't think he'll be leaving Real Madrid anytime soon. Also, not necessarily a player who will be breaking out in the sense, this is the first time we'll have heard of him. But I think a player who could get a really good move from this World Cup would be Lee Kang-in from South Korea.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Obviously, Son fading out as talisman, and Lee having played for PSG for the last couple of seasons, obviously not played the most vital role in their Champions League win. However, has picked up quite a lot of minutes across Ligue 1 and the Champions League throughout the season. He's just a really industrious, all-round talented player, and I think, again, could potentially lead South Korea to a very strong performance at this World Cup and potentially bag a good move at the other end of it. I think he could have a really good time. Again, watch him break say in the first game, but I've got some hope anyway. I think that mostly wraps us, apart from where we think England and Scotland are going to get.
Yeah, obviously you've already said.
Obviously highlighted that
England to win. Apparently,
it's sad that you can't have England and Scotland win. However, I do have England winning and Scotland. I think as much as I would love us to go far, I think round of 32 is a realistic hope. I don't think if we come bottom of our group, behind Haiti, I think that'll be a serious disappointment. Especially with Clark signing a new 5-year contract, I think until 2031, or at least until the next World Cup, is leave Scotland with a lot of questions. So I'm going to say around round of 32, and potentially, take us who knows where. But wherever you put our two home nations now.
England, I said I don't really fancy them to go all the way. I still think they'll get to the semis. I think they probably are around about in the top 4 teams in this tournament. Obviously, it depends on the draw. I think there's apparently a decent chance that our route would involve a quarter-final against Brazil, who I'd fancy us to beat. But then I think beyond that, if you're looking at, say, a Spain or an Argentina, I would probably see that as the end of the road for England.
I think
and
I mean, Spain maybe, Argentina less so.
Yeah, I just think we always struggle against teams like that who are just solid. But Scotland, I am gonna stick my neck out and predict for a quarter-final finish. I think, like you say, it's a group they should be getting out of. Haiti should definitely be probably a slightly concerning, but nevertheless 1-0 win. I reckon they get a result against Morocco. Yeah. That sees them through, at the very least, in the third. And then, in a one-off game, I mean, we saw what they could do to get here.
Beat anyone, mate.
Tierney show, whoever else you want to include. Scott McTominay, of course. But I just think they're going to have something. I really fancy them. It's going to be such a special occasion for Scotland to be at this World Cup for the first time in 30-odd years. And I just think I've got something about them. I think they can get to the quarters. Round of 32, you'd think chances are they'll get a decent enough draw to get through. Round of 16, I think they've got one big scalp in them, basically, and then they'll probably go out in the quarters. It's an optimistic prediction, but I really want to see Scotland do well. Obviously,
I would love
no Scotland one north of the border is going to be cheering England on, but I really, have a real admiration for what Steve Clarke's done up there, and think
it's been magical.
You've got to hope that they can produce something big.
Mm. It would be absolutely magical as well, and especially with Steve Clark finally deciding that Lawrence Shankland is Scotland's number one
Yes.
striker, which is a decision that's taken honestly maybe 3 or 4 years too long. But I'm just glad we're here now. He's also just got his dream move to Rangers as well, his
Yeah.
boyhood club. So he again after just being pipped to the Scottish title in disgusting fashion by Celtic. I'm by the way fully bipartisan here. Um, but yeah, after being pipped to that, I think getting his dream move and then going to his nation's first World Cup is going to be a really big boost. And again, although Scott McTominay's not had as much of a loud season, I just it's written in the stars, isn't it? He's got his own bloody banknote.
He's still a classy player, but has enough to make
Yeah,
a
he's a
difference.
very classy. He's a beautiful classy man. Uh, Lovely. Does that wrap us up for this week,
It
man?
does. And I like to think that was a classy display
Doesn't
from us as well. It's good to be back.
it? Jury is out, but it is amazing to be back. To all the returning Four Four Brew listeners, we greatly thank you if you've held with us through our previous 5 year journey, and to all the new listeners, we're really happy to welcome you to Four Four Brew. There will be many more episodes to come over the numbering decades, and Four Four Brew forever. I'm I'm very happy to be back and looking forward to providing a lot of great coverage of the
Yeah.
World Cup and next Premier League season to boot as well. You can also catch us on our Instagram account, and this will be posted on YouTube as well, but also your favourite podcast app, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever it may be, will also be over there as well. So if you fancy driving but don't want to be a distracted driver, we'll sort you out as well. That is all for this week. And yeah, me and Matt will see you next week for another World Cup roundup. Bit of fun, bit of hijinks, and a generally good time.
Thank you very much, Ivor.